My today's topic is factors for the demand of Pakistan. I'm going to give the introduction of my topic. In 1940, 23rd March, Muslims of India demanded a separate homeland. This demand was raised in 27th annual session of All India Muslim League, which is known as Lahore Resolution. It was demanded that the Muslim majority areas in the northeast and the northwest of India must be declared as a separate state. Now the question is raised, why Muslims of India demanded a separate homeland for themselves? There are many reasons to put up this demand, which we discuss below. Sovereignty of Allah. Islamic State laid its foundation on the sovereignty of Allah Almighty instead of the rule of the people or public. Prime objective of the demand of Pakistan was to enforce the supremacy of Allah and the limits defined by Him. Quaid-e-Azam rightly said, "We did not demand Pakistan to acquire the piece of land, but we want a homeland where we could experiment the golden principles of Islam, which are still applicable as they were 1300 years ago." The next reason was two-nation theory. The whole world is divided on the basis of the belief. Believers are known as Muslims, non-believers are known as non-Muslims. Muslims have different concept of nationhood, which is known as the concept of Ummah. Muslim Ummah has a separate identity in respect of culture, history and belief. Establishment of Islamic democracy is another reason. Islam has different concept of democracy from the Western concept. Everyone is equal and no one has privileged social status. Ruler is bound to follow the instructions of Allah as a sacred trust. Basic factor that involved in the demand of Pakistan was the implementation of Islamic democratic system. The slogan which was involved for the struggle of Pakistan reflects this factor very clearly. That is, Pakistan ka matlab kya, la ilaha. Next reason is the revival of the Muslim identity. Muslims were being dominated by the Hindus in the United India in all social fields. Backwardness in the field of education and politics. Hindus adopted prejudiced attitude towards the Muslims, which blocked all the channels of progress and prosperity for the Muslims. Demand of Pakistan was aimed at protecting Muslims from the Hindu domination and subjugation. It was for the revival of Muslim identity, which was destroyed through the anti-Muslim movements like Shuddhi, Sangadan, Arya Samaj and next reason, protection of the Muslim culture and civilization. Muslims of the world have different pattern of culture, civilization. All the Muslims lived with the Hindus for centuries, but they have their distinct culture, way of living and thoughts. As Quaid-e-Azam said, they cannot intermarry, they cannot interdine. Hero of the one nation is the enemy of the other nation. How can they live as a nation in one state? Next reason was the Urdu-Hindi controversy. Hindus desired to crush the culture and literature of the Muslims. They tried to abolish the language of the Muslims, which was Urdu. They started Urdu-Hindi controversy in 1867. Hindus tried to implement Hindi as an official language of India's instead of Urdu. In 1905, it was again an era of threat for the Urdu language. The dream of Hindu came true during the Congress ministries of 1937 to 1939, when Urdu was replaced by Hindi in offices and the educational institutions. Next, Shuddhi and Sangadan. These were the anti-Muslim movements which were started time to time in the history of India. Shuddi and Sangathan movements were started to convert the Muslims into Hindus. Shuddhi means to purify, Sangathan means to convert the Muslims on. Next reason was social justice and equality. Islam is the pioneer of equality and no one is superior unto other. Hindus believe in caste system. Muslims wanted to implement the system of social justice in their society. They wanted to enjoy the equal rights in the society. Conclusion. Pakistan was demanded to get rid of Hindu emancipation and monopoly in all social, political and economic fields. That's it. Thank you.